YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of the entry grade new Gundam. Now once again, it's been a while since I purchased this, so sorry for the delay. So my original plan was to get also the HGUC new Gundam, but my schedule kept messing my schedule up, so I couldn't really go to Gundam base. But once again, even though I do get one, I do have to eventually review one in order to make the comparison for the other guy, so I decided to build the entry grade first. So the entry grade is basically a more simplified version of the HG kit. Now back then we did have like AGs or EGs, which were very cheap kits where they barely had any articulation. But recently Bandai decided to keep pushing these guys out and improving them more. So now they have very decent articulation and really good color separation, to the point where this guy, as you can see, other than the symbol, Amuro symbol on the shoulder, there's no stickers on the kit itself. So it is really impressive. Now one thing odd regarding the entry grade new Gundam is the fact that it does not come with everything. The only weapons and equipment you get are the shield, the beam rifle, the beam saber hilt, and that's it. You don't get the beam saber effect parts, you don't get the shield, or you don't get the fin funnels as well. So it's a little bit odd, but at the same time I kind of understand that. Let's say, because after building this kit was actually very good, and let's say if they actually came with everything, then they have zero reason, or maybe the demand for the regular HGC new Gundam or the sales for the HGC new Gundam might drop. So I guess they wanted to avoid that, hence only giving partial the equipment, and also mentioning in the promo regarding the entry grade is that if you want the weapons, go get the regular version and attach that weapons to this guy. So I think that's just one of their marketing tactics. That's all I can guess. But also, once again, I believe when the new Gundam was first seen in the anime, the first time we actually saw it, I think it didn't have any equipment. It only had the basic shield, the beam rifle, and that was it. So maybe this is also supposed to be a reference of that. But still, let's see what we got. So let me get it off the stand, and let's see what we got. So obviously, I think at this point it's pretty obvious that the new Gundam is technically a much more taller and higher kit, mobile suit compared to other regular mobile suits. So I'm not going to do any size comparisons. I think at this point you should know this. So yeah. All right. So let's start with the head now. So once again, as I mentioned before, the components you get is that the beam saber hilt, your regular multi-purpose hands, and the shield and the beam rifle. That is everything you get. Nothing else or more. Alright, let's start with the head version. So you can see the head. Once again, I was really impressed by the head. Actually, I had some questions regarding the head, because the eyes, obviously in most mobile suits or Gundams, their eyes are it's a black background, and on the inner side is the main color units. So I was wondering, how the hell are they going to do the color separations on this guy here? Then again, they did something similar. They actually did the color separation on the RX-70 as far as I remember, so that was impressive. But still, so what they did is that you can see this is more like an illusion here. So everything you see is color separated parts. So the white sections, the red sections, and then the inside, the green section here. What they did was that there's no black part here. You just put in the green parts, which becomes the eyes and the head camera, and then you cover up the head with the white parts, and which gives you the illusion of those black lines using the shadows. So there's no actual part there. It's just the green eye section there, and it's not filling up the head entirely on the inside. There's actually a little bit more space to make that shadow, and it works. I'm really surprised at the fact that it actually works. So yeah, really great job, if I had to say so. And yeah, and another good thing is that these entry grade kits, now you could technically just cut the piece off and then sand the nub marks, but they can also be, you can actually snap billet it without any nippers. You can actually just pull out the parts easily. I was really surprised that they actually improved that aspect as well. So just saying. So the head articulation is pretty well. So you can go down that much, up that much, and then 360 is technically possible. Of course, the neck joint is moving together, and everything here is pretty much, a lot of plastic parts. I believe there was no polycaps on this guy. All right, and then let's start with the shoulder. Now, regarding the entry grades, I think one of the parts they kind of simplified most are the shoulder areas. So usually we would have inside there would be a polycap or sometimes a plastic joint, and then that would be able to pop out and allow us to move shoulders forward and backward. So you can see there's barely any movement here. And if I pull out the arms, it's just, sorry about that, it's just a full-fledged hole in there, Yeah, this part I kind of messed up, but still, there's a full-fledged hole, and then all you do is connect this plastic ball joint here. And despite being a ball joint, as you can see, it doesn't really have much movement. So that's just one thing that you just be aware of that. And then arm movement wise, you can go roughly about 90 degrees to the side, and because the arm is connected to a ball joint, you can actually rotate 360. And then on the lower arm, 360 twist is also possible. And then bend wise, it goes more than about 90 degrees, so more than 90 degrees, but not exactly all the way upwards. And you can see on this arm, you may have noticed they do actually have the beam saber mold in here, but this is not a separate part. This is just pretty much molded on the same on the piece around here, so onto this arm. So you can't actually pull out this beam saber out. So let's see, for example, if I take out this yellow part, if I remember how to. It's not coming out, but still, even though I do take out this yellow part, this thing is actually molded on, so you can't actually separate this beam saber. So I just want you to let you know that. And you might have noticed that it's very clean. You don't see any seam lines going on here. That's because the inner frame here, or semi-inner frame, it's just a huge gray block on the inside, and then you slide this part on it, so which is why we don't actually have the typical you snap two pieces together onto the frame, so which is why we get this very clean look going on here. So just wanted to mention that as well. Now the main body, we do get a bit of an ab crunch, but not as much as you think. Going to side is also existent. And going 360, I would say no, because once again, parts are colliding here as well. And once again, when it comes to Federation mobile suits, it's really random. It's really random regarding the crotch area. You see this V symbol. Now, some kits would have these actually full-fledged colors, part separated, while others would be just slapping stickers on. So this one, once again, part separated. So very nice. And then the front skirts, they are a single piece, but they're not your typical ball jointed style. They're actually one of those, T-shaped style pegs connected together. So you're gonna have to do some separating properly on that one. For now, I didn't cut them loose, so they're just a single piece, so they will move together on mine. And looking at the back skirts, once again, the back skirt does not move, but once again, we get some nice details, other part separations here, and color separations as well. Another part that was really impressive was this black line being color separated as well. Now the beam saber, you can technically pull it out, and as long as you have the proper beam saber effect part, you can actually attach here. The problem is that as far as I know, the new Gundam beam saber effect has to be very specific. I believe this one has to be one of those curved designs, and then you need a very short one for the other side. So let's say this is a typical master grade beam saber effect part. It doesn't fit properly. You can see it because of the design. It's going on a little bit to the side like that. So that's not supposed to happen. So you need a very specific beam saber effect part, as far as I know. But other than that, it does have all the details on it. So yeah. So hopefully next time or next week I go to Gundam Base, I can find everything I need. And once again, we do have all the parts and areas to put, to plug in the bazooka and for the fin funnel. So yeah. All right, now looking at the waist sections, as I mentioned, you can move the front skirts and side skirts do move a little bit, and then they did a pretty good job on the color separations here. And the main connection here is a ball joint, but you do still technically have a side swivel going on here on the bottom. There's no hinge system where you can relocate the legs, because obviously this guy's already tall, so I don't think it was really necessary. But once you have the front skirts all the way up, you can do a kick 90 degrees upwards, back not so much, and then because being a ball joint, going to the side 90 degrees is not an option. Alright, and once again, like the arms, the legs also here, you basically slide in this gigantic white piece on it, so which is why we have a very clean look going on here, instead of having a seam line on the middle or on this side as well. So everything worked out pretty well. Of course, the one thing is that I do sometimes, when moving the legs, I tend to make these guys slide a little bit downwards. I think I fixed it because apparently the feet, there's a long peg in here that you have to push in, and if you push it all the way through, I believe it locks it into place. So if you have the feeling where this white area is sliding in and out, make sure that you pushed in all the feet peg all the way in. Alright, now kick-wise we got 90 degrees, and then bend-wise we get a pretty nice bend going on here. Now this also does technically use a C-clip type joint here, so just wanted to mention that. So you do kind of, so this place is the one I believe is the locking mechanism back here. So I believe you have to take this part out to make sure to check that. Okay, come on. So this part, yeah, see, and then I believe this is a pretty tight fit. So once again, it may not come out, but basically this part you have to attach later, push it in to make sure everything is locked into place. So it's kind of a more of a semi like C-clip type joint. You'll get the idea like how it works. So once again, despite being that joint style, it's not really loose by any means. So very nice. And then feet are the most interesting parts here. So the main top part, I believe, so you can go forward like that, and then the lower feet is actually connected to another ball joint. So the feet itself, without the joint, can move on its own. And because the ball joint is on the inside, you get a very decent pivot, actually, a very nice pivot joint as well. And once again, I think it goes without saying, these yellow parts are also all color separate pieces as well. Even the feet here, color separate pieces. So they did a really good job on this. It's like they went all out, and so it's like Bandai would not allow them to make a revive kit for the HUC, so they just went all out and making a new entry grade. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the articulation here. Very good for what it is, being an entry grade as well. Although I would have mind paying a little bit more to get all the equipment, but once again, I kind of understand why they did this. Now, I'm not sure if they're planning on one, but if they make an entry grade like Sazabi, that's going to be a whole new story and such. Alright, now let's get to weapons. The weapons, very simple. I believe for the white parts, you snap two pieces together, and then you attach the black piece on top of it. Now you don't get a dedicated trigger finger hand, so you just slide it in, and it's a very fit connection. So there's no way it's going to be coming out that easily. And then we have this. We have the shield connector. However, the thing I don't like is that this definitely is the Alex syndrome, where most of the time we would see, or regarding the articulation, this would be the correct direction for the arm, but most of the time, or sometimes in the anime or on the official art, the arms would be like in this position, and the shield has to connect like this. Now, this doesn't look too bad, but if you want to bend the arms, you can't. You have to do this and bend like that. So that is a little bit of a downside. But once again, in the inner shield, we do get the inner details like the small grenade launchers and the beam gun. Yes, I believe in the Gundam Battle Operation 2, they actually use this weapon. And then we get a nice sticker for Admiral symbol. Definitely looking good. And that's pretty much it. So if there's anything I didn't mention, would be the beam saber. So you can, let me check how fit it is. So yeah, you can still plug it in and still use it as long as you have the beam saber effect part. So once again, that's the only downside if you ask me, but other than that, everything works very well. So once again, that is pretty much it for the review for the entry grade new Gundam. Once again, I highly recommend this for those who can't find the regular HUC version. You can still get this version. I believe this one is fairly more easier to get, and heck, I wouldn't mind if they released like a premium Bandai version that comes with all the equipment. I think I might actually go for that as well. Anyway, hopefully my review was helpful. Once again, if you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.